Welcome to Twin Lakes. It is day 47 of the series, which means we are 14 days away from Leadville. We got 2 weeks into the Leadville 100. Made a quick comment at the end of my video that I wanted to circle back up and put this in at the very start. Based on everything I know about the course in Leadville and the fire situation, I think everything south of the fish hatchery is going to be the exact same as typical. The only stuff that's going to change is like up and around Turquoise Lake, because there's I think it's called Hagerman Pass Road, and then obviously Sugarloaf Mountain and Powerline are still within the fire area, so they're probably going to reroute that section. But I think everything south of the fish hatchery will still be the typical Leadville race. So I just want to preface that here. Cue the intro. If you're not familiar with the series, I went from HYROX World Championships in June of 2026 and had 8 weeks basically to prepare for Leadville, and we're 2 weeks away. So this is the last big long quality day. We're up at Twin Lakes, we're gonna go up Hope Pass, and we're also gonna go north from Twin Lakes. And we're treating this as race day. So it's 11:02 a.m. This will be more or less the time that I'm here 2 weeks from now. Might be an hour before or right around this time. And we're gonna treat it as race day. So I have all my soft flasks, I have my cooling strategy dialed in, and I'll walk you through the plan today. Today's mission, we're gonna start here in Twin Lakes and head northbound, so towards outward bound, back towards Leadville. We're gonna go out 8 to 9 miles and then turn around and come back to Twin Lakes. So it'll be about 16 to 18 miles of unsupported time. Come back here, regroup at the car, get some more gels, get some more nutrition, and then go up the north side of Hope Pass, top out, come back down to the bottom. So it'll be quite a big day, 28 to 30 miles. And again, treating it as race day. So I'm fueling with 120 grams of carbs per hour. I'm gonna wear my arm sleeves, find little creeks and rivers to dip them in, and keep my body cool. I didn't bring my ice bandana today or my larger hat, but those will also be things I have on race day. Test out my poles, test out my race shoes, and I'll kind of give a good idea, a good summary of like the conditions that we are currently seeing in Twin Lakes. So air quality, height of the river, elevation gain and loss for different sections. So hopefully it's quite informative. It'd be a good distraction for me too while I get these 30 miles completed. And without further ado, let's go warm up, use the bathroom, and get started. Wearing these not for fashion, although I don't mind how they look, but I'm using it for cooling. So whenever I get to a stream, a river, an aid station, I'm gonna throw ice or water if I'm at a stream into here and do some cooling through my arms. I was a bit of an idiot and didn't pack a good shirt. I mean, I had it ready, but I didn't pack it in my car. So this is not the shirt I'll wear on race day. It's not as breathable as I probably would like it to be. So the plan is to wear this today, just suffer through it. It won't be as ideal as I would like it to be, but we make do with what we got. Okay, leaving Twin Lakes. We're at 0.2 miles, just getting started. Going up this big hill. There's about a 1,400 foot climb out of Twin Lakes heading north. Doing some hiking out of the gate. If you're not, well, there's Hope Pass up there, but if you're not familiar with where I'm at in training, I'll catch you up real quick. So yesterday, I did 8 miles at Walker Ranch, which is just past the Front Range of Boulder, where I did some hard descending. So really trying to pound the quads, carry some fatigue. I definitely feel like sore and tight already today starting this, which is what I want it to be. And it's not helping that I drove like 2.5 hours this morning from Boulder area up here. and then went basically right into it. All right, so 1.5 miles in. So out of Twin Lakes, you have about 1 mile of like, let's call it Fire Road. Oh, I just ate that branch. Fire Road, and then you dip off to a single track trail, which I'm on now, which is kind of flowy. It's mostly up, but there's also some sections that kind of go up and down where you can get a good flow going. Slight downhill now. So it took 3 miles. We're at 3.1 miles, 5K from Twin Lakes. And it took about the 3 miles to reach the 1,400 feet of gain. Slight down here, and then another small upcoming on deck. And yeah, using heart rate to dictate a lot of paces here, whether I'm hiking or running uphill. I basically just use my heart rate monitor, which I have on underneath my shirt, my external one, to make sure I'm not over 145 BPM. All right, let's do a weather check-in. So today is about 70 degrees in Leadville. That's pretty average for this time of year, maybe on the slightly higher side. It's pretty overcast. When I was driving up this morning, it was sunny. This is like perfect. If it's 70 to 75 on race day and overcast, I feel quite, comfortable with how this is going so far in terms of heat. Another important thing to talk about is air quality. So obviously this year, this race is affected by the Willow Fire just a little further north of here, directly west of Leadville. So air quality wise, feels quite manageable. I think it was like 74 parts per million, which is the IAQ category moderate. But if you look across the map of the US and of the world, like a lot of places are classified as moderate. So as long as it's not very smoky, like any big parts of the fire are active, which they haven't been for a handful of, well, actually more than a week now, and there's no smoke blowing south, you should be fine for breathability and risk for air pollution exposure. Okay, we're off single track and back on this kind of back road here. It's like dirt, maybe some sand, but compact. And it's 1 hour in, so 1 hour, 2 minutes. I'm gonna have my second gel. My fueling strategy for this race is to take in between 110 and 130 grams of carbs per hour. As of right now on this run, I'm only taking 2 gels per hour every half an hour. But my gut's been pretty good at altitude during these like training weekends. So I actually might, for certain stretches where I know it's not a lot of up and down and pretty just like flat or rolly, I might actually bump up to 3 gels per hour and consume more carbs. So a little bit of TBD, but make sure you fuel and have a plan that you've practiced, that you can trust, and a fuel source that also works for you. So I have cis beta gels, my gel, and then First Form Ultraformance for my liquid calories, liquid carbohydrates. I've had a concentration of 2 scoops for every 16 ounces, and I find my gut can tolerate that quite well. Some people I know have to dilute it more, so like 1.5 scoops for 16 ounces, but that's kind of very individual, up to the person. So practice, and then come to race day with the strategy, and then hold the strategy as long as you can until the wheels fall off, and then adjust. Okay, we got a beautiful road here, nice and compact, soft, and like relatively flat. It's a slight gradual downhill heading north back to Leadville from Twin Lakes, but feels really good to open the stride up after that big ascent out of Twin Lakes. I'm in a slightly more exposed area now. You can see the tree spacing is a little more wide, a little more sparse. And I can really feel the heat now. Like, it's partially cloudy, when the sun pops through, we're in the high country, right? So you can definitely feel it. I'm glad that I'm well protected and that my arms are pretty cool. I'm gonna call this segment my Leadville Recon tips. So tip number one, this is kind of universal. It goes from all ultras, but in Leadville, one thing I can guarantee will happen, whether you're running 29 hours, 59 seconds, or challenging for a record, is at some point, you're gonna have mechanical breakdown. Knees will hurt, muscles will seize up. It's guaranteed. But one thing you can control is your mindset. And to go along with that, what I use for tools is I have music that I haven't used yet, but it's a tool and I don't need it. You have caffeine at your disposal, you have pacers. So use your tools not as a constant IV drip, trying to latch on to always deflecting where you're at, but use it strategically and plan for it. So you get to a point where it's like, hey, my mind's a little bit wonky, not feeling good on vibes. Put some music on. Use it as a resource and a tool, opposed to something you're relying on the entire time. And I think it has some success. And really enjoy when it's on, or when you have caffeine, or when you have those pacers alongside you. Leadville Recon tip number two is run when you can. There are a lot of sections like this. You go behind me, where it's relatively flat, wide road. The surface is like really compact gravel, sand. It feels really nice, feels really soft, not like pounding pavement. So when you have the opportunity to run, especially if you're chasing cutoffs, make sure you have the willingness in your mind to go there. So like this section here, where it's slightly down, even a slow like trot can help spark some movement, some consistency, some momentum. And once you get going, our bodies don't want to change that much, right? So an object in motion wants to stay in motion. Find the pace, the effort you want to be sitting at, and run when you can. That's 9 miles complete. We're gonna pull it back around and head back to Twin Lakes. I was really enjoying the slight downhill those past 4 miles, which means I now get to enjoy a slight uphill for 4 miles. Let's go get it. Next tip, take the time, take the second. If you're rocking your shoe, take the time to stop, untie your shoe, don't be rushed. I hope this is okay. Don't be rushed. Don't get worried about losing seconds. That's not important. Same thing for example, my cooling strategy requires me to put my sleeves in water. So at an aid station, a creek crossing, I'm gonna personally take the extra 5 seconds, take it off my arm, dump it in the creek, and put it back on to cool myself. So don't be so rushed and so worried about getting to a certain spot at a certain time. It's always worth taking the 5, 10, 15 seconds to figure something out. Also, you can't really see it, maybe you can. Hope Pass is right there. Can't really see it behind these trees, but it's right there. And that's where we're going next. All right, that is 13 miles complete, half marathon. It's been about 4 miles now since I turned around. So I have 5 miles left to Twin Lakes. This section from the turnaround point back to Twin Lakes is definitely runnable. It's gradually uphill. It's hard to tell on camera, I guess, but definitely gradually uphill, but runnable. Or if you wanted to, you could probably slow it down and really power hike. But for the most part, there's a couple steep-ish sections, but nothing compared to the way out of Twin Lakes heading north, or obviously Hope Pass Ooh, a little bit techie. Lots of rocks. Leadville Recon tip number 4, I think. This was an important one. So it's a reminder that we're in the high country. But more specifically, this is about as much undergrowth as you're gonna get. Trees do not have great foliage, if you're catching my drift, and rocks are not ideal for wiping. So bring some biodegradable, just wipes, let's just pack them, just in case, because the last thing I want to do is get a dirty, scummy little rock, one of these guys, to finish your business. So maybe TMI, but it is a lesson from experience. So bring some wipes. Okay, there's Twin Lakes down there, right down there. We're at 16.19 miles, which means you got a little under 2 miles to go to get back. I'll cruising now on the downhill. Okay, we're back in Twin Lakes. During race day, you'll run straight through here. There'll be a big tent over on the left-hand side with food for the aid station. And then there's a lottery for a bunch of spots here that you can kind of just line the entire road with your tent and crew, gear, people, etc. So, yeah, made it back. It is 2 hours and 45 minutes since I started. Okay, we're at 18 miles. I'm going to treat this as an aid station. This is obviously, Twin Lakes is one of the main aid stations that we have on the course. So I can get my lawn chair, sit down, restock my bottles, change my shoes, my socks, treat it as normal as I can. And then obviously it'll be quicker because I'll have help on race day. All right, we are at Twin Lakes. I got here around 2:46. These socks are now done. I'm going to put on some other socks, clean my feet off, make sure there's no like lingering dirt, debris, that sort of stuff in there. And I'm actually going to change my shoes. So on race day, for the first third and the back third, I'm going to wear these. These are the Agravic Speed Ultra 2s. You can see it right there from Adidas. I'll probably wear a pair of Brooks shoes, a little more cushion, a little less like forward propulsion for this section where it's a lot of power hiking. So new socks, refuel, hopefully take about 8 to 10 minutes and then hit the road. Okay, another tip is, even though I'm quite warm right now, like on the verge of overheating, I'm still gonna bring a long sleeve jacket for the top of Hope Pass. Remember, high altitude, there's a lot of exposure up there, and if it's any sort of cloudy and windy, it can get cold real quick when you're walking, power hiking, or taking a break at the Hopeless aid station. So I would suggest bringing some sort of windbreaker, jacket, something with you just in case. Back on the move, spent about 8.5 minutes there. Obviously it'll be quicker in the race hopefully, but refueled myself, changed my shoes, dried my feet, changed my socks, all the good stuff. So yeah, good little break. Had some goldfish, chugged some water, and yeah, we are on our way up to Hope Pass now. Okay, this is the infamous water crossing. This little stream here flows into Twin Lakes, and you have to cross it. So it's about quarter sock height on me. So I guess like maybe 1 foot to 14 inches deep right now. That's not very deep. There's been some past years where it's like up to your knees, like 2 feet deep almost. That wasn't that bad. My strategy last time I did this was to take my shoes off, have a change of socks, and it works quite well. But today I want to try going through the water in my shoes and then seeing how they feel and how quickly they dry. And I can make a kind of educated guess, or not educated guess, I can make a decision for race day if I want to do shoes off, new socks, or if I just plow right through. Okay, 4 miles to get to the top of Hope Pass. It is currently 3 hours and 11 minutes in. Let's see how long it takes. Next tip, poles. If you're proficient with poles, you have poles already, this is the time to use them. So I'll probably, get them back here in my bag. I'll probably break them out here in 400 meters when it starts to get steep. But if you're proficient at them, it's a good resource to use to help put some load on your upper body opposed to just your legs. So food for thought. If you have them, bring them. Heading back to Twin Lakes down there. I just topped out up there. It was quite windy though. And there was a bit of a crowd up there actually just hanging out. So I didn't get any videos, but I'll show you my Strava file or my Garmin file to prove I got up there. So I don't have many people aggregating me. But topped out, it took me an hour and 31 minutes from the Twin Lake parking lots, including stopping time to use the bathroom. And that's it. So that's 3 minutes slower than when I did it fresh. So I'm gonna budget when I do my race strategy and pacing strategy. I'm gonna budget an hour and 45 to do the north ascent from the parking lot in Twin Lakes. And now we're back down. My nose and eyes are just running with this wind. But look at the view. It's pretty hard to complain on a day like this. Okay, so you'll notice I didn't talk very much on the way up. I kept my phone in my pocket and with the entire time. Mostly because this pass sucks, but also because I wanted to pin a heart rate, and talking obviously elevates my heart rate, so I want to get a true pacing effort of what it would take, my heart rate being at 143 the entire way up. So did a little strategy there, and now I want to do another tip, another Leadville Recon tip. So I don't know if you can tell, but my hat's dripping. Not sweat. So when the high country sweat rate goes down, and which means, side note, sodium intake can also go down from typical runs, just FYI. But I found some streams on the way down here, and I dunked my arm sleeves and my hat in the stream to cool me off, and it's doing wonders. Made it back down off the pass, just past that sign that says 4 miles up to Hope Pass. On the way up, it was an hour and 16 minutes, and honestly 90% power hiking. And then on the way down, it was 38 minutes at a pretty leisurely pace. I rolled my ankle quite early on, trying to get out of the way of someone else, and I got frustrated and decided just to slow down a little bit. So just going to the water crossing now. Hope Pass in the rear view mirror, past the creek. I think after today I've decided that I'm just gonna go through the creek with my shoes on. They dry within 15 minutes, so I can tolerate that, and the risk for blisters is low, so that's what I'll probably do. We're almost back in Twin Lakes, so I'll give you my last tip. This course has a lot of variety in terms of terrain. You got this sort of stuff where it's loose sand with some rocks. You got rooty sections. You got areas that are just loose scree almost, especially up in Hope Pass. It's not it's in between the northeast routes and California carpet. There's a middle ground here that Leadville's at, and it can definitely bite some ankles. So be cautious, especially on downhills. And just like that, 5 hours and 20 minutes later, we're back at Twin Lakes. Okay, that's the last long one. 29.5 miles. Hopefully this wind isn't too bad for audio. And did pretty well. I got through, that's part of the gels. I did 2 gels per hour, and I ran for 5 hours and 20 minutes. So I think I had 10 gels, and then I had just a bunch of goldfish when I got back here. Felt okay. My body held up. I felt cardiovascularly, I was doing all right. I kind of pinned my paces. I averaged 138 heart rate, or 136 heart rate. I topped out at 152, well, at least one time on one of the uphills. But overall, tried to stay underneath 145 whenever I could. And then when I noticed it was going over, I brought it back like right away. So as soon as I caught it, I brought it back. But yeah, body feels good. Areas that are tight, that I think would, if I did that again, like right now, I think my outer glutes would be pretty tight. They're already starting to get a little tight. And then my inside of my ankles, I don't know if I did my laces up too tight or if I rolled the left one a little bit, but the right one, the inside's a bit tight. I don't know if I'm like pronating or what's going on there, but a little bit of just like noticeable, not painful, but might be painful if I had to do that 2 more times, which I will have to in 2 weeks. So overall, pretty good experience in Leadville today, or in Twin Lakes. Hopefully there was some good information shared. Again, always ask questions if you have any. I guess instead of talking about that, we'll wrap it up. Day 47, which means we're 14 days away from Leadville, 2 weeks, 13 sleeps, peak week's done. Well, got a little bit, like a 12-miler tomorrow, but most of peak week's done. And now we're gonna throw a big, huge, massive taper party. For 14 more days. We'll catch you tomorrow.